Hi everyone, Abby here from Lights, Camera, Accolade to tell you that this July you can forget Chris Nolan's Odyssey because Sarah and I have an even bigger blockbuster for you. This month for our bonus episode, we watched David O. Selznick's Duel in the Sun, otherwise known as Lust in the Dust, a wildly popular 1946 blockbuster that tried to recapture the sweeping drama of Gone with the Wind. You can hear a little about it in this preview, but for the full episode, check us out at patreon.com/lightscameraaccolade. Not satisfied with the epic heights reached by Gone with the Wind and eager to put his lover-turned-wife Jennifer Jones in another leading role, O. Selznick did what generations of Americans before him did while on the hunt for opportunity. He looked west, to the Old West specifically. The result is Duel in the Sun, a sprawling melodrama western which follows Pearl Chavez, a young woman recently orphaned thanks to her white father being executed for the murder of Pearl's Mexican Indian mother after finding her in bed with another man. But it's okay, says the movie. Given that Pearl's grief seems to be primarily for her executed murderer father, we're led to believe that her cheating mother probably deserved it. This is only made more baffling when you remember that this movie is written by Selznick and starring his wife, who did cheat on her previous husband to be with Selznick.
Bill.
A little weird.
Yeah.
With her father dead, mixed-race Pearl is shipped off to live with her white relatives in Texas. When she arrives, she is met by Jesse McCandless, her cousin. He sweeps her off to their sprawling cattle ranch, where she's introduced to her kindly aunt, Laura Bell, who welcomes her with open arms, and her wheelchair-bound uncle, Senator Jackson McCandless, who welcomes her with racism. Soon, Pearl also meets the second McCandless son, Lute, played by our year's hot leading man, Gregory Peck. And while Jesse is a gentlemanly lawyer type, Lute is a domineering cowboy who doesn't hesitate to express his interest in getting Pearl into bed. Though we're led to believe Pearl dislikes his advances, the script seems slightly confused on this point. Pearl oscillates wildly between being offended by his presence and being compelled by his attention, including accepting the gift of a horse from him. Still, Pearl seems to want to remain a good girl, unlike her mother, whispers the movie racistly. Her aunt Laura Bell attempts to enforce this further by calling the local preacher to counsel Pearl weirdly sexily on how to avoid sexually tempting men. Unfortunately, Lute is apparently immune to things like purifying medallions hung around young girls' necks. One night, he comes to Pearl's room and rapes her, although in classic Hollywood fashion, the movie seems unsure whether it really counts as rape, though it at least knows that it's incredibly toxic. Pearl is subsequently ashamed of capitulating to him, but is also flattered by his desire. Shortly thereafter, Jesse is banished from the McCandless ranch because he sides with some railroad men who are looking to run the track through the ranch. Despite being in love with Pearl too, Jesse goes to Austin to pursue a career in politics and gets engaged to the daughter of the head railroad man. Speaking of matrimonial bliss, Lute offers to marry Pearl, but then goes back on his own promise. Furious that she's had her sexual purity ruined for nothing, Pearl agrees to marry neighboring rancher Sam Pierce, even though she doesn't love him. Before they can be wed, however, Lute jealously seeks out Sam and guns him down. Pearl, he says before going on the lam, should only belong to him. From there, Lute becomes a bandit and general malcontent, robbing trains and occasionally popping into the McCandless ranch in the dead of night to sleep with Pearl, who hides him from the law and cries when he inevitably walks out on her. Aunt Laura Bell's health takes a turn for the worse, but before she can die literally at her husband's feet, unfeeling Senator Jackson defrosts enough to admit that he loves her. Jesse returns a short while later, having heard that his mother was dying, only to discover that he's both too late to say goodbye and that his dad still wants nothing to do with him. Jesse then leaves to the nearby town, and Lute, knowing his brother also loved Pearl and suspecting that he might have designs on running away with her, shows up to defend his claim. He challenges Jesse to a shootout in the street, but Jesse refuses to defend himself. Lute therefore mercilessly shoots his own brother in cold blood. Senator Jackson McCandless grieves on his lonely ranch with no family with him and his arguably best son on death's door, while his definitively favorite son has turned outlaw. But the senator's old friend informs him that Jesse's wounds aren't the killing kind after all, and it seems like the senator might just soften to the idea of welcoming his estranged son back into the fold. Meanwhile, Jesse's wife Helen has arrived and invites Pearl to come live with them in Austin. While Pearl initially seems relieved both by Jesse's survival and the prospect of escaping the cattle ranch forever, she's soon tipped off by one of Lute's Lute's ranch hand pals that Lute intends to come after Jesse again. In the meantime, Lute wants to meet her before he has to make a run for it, the ranch hand tells her. Pearl agrees to go to him. Armed with a rifle, she gets up on the horse Lute gave her and rides out into the desert to find him. When she does, she shoots him. And then instead of the movie ending there, Lute shoots her back. The two engage in the titular duel in the sun, which slowly devolves into the pair desperately calling out for each other, while Pearl crawls across the rocks and dirt and grit to get to where Lute lies dying. Eventually, they reunite and die in each other's arms. The end. So you love this Western, right, Sarah?
Oh, yes, of course. You know why I loved it? Because while I was watching it, I realized, okay, this is Anthony Adverse, the Western.
Oh, my God.
The movie
right.
is batshit insane with terrible characters. It's like, but wait, there's more with offensive themes and choices. It goes on for way too long. It takes itself oddly seriously for how hilarious it is.
Oh, it's so camp.
Oh my God.
It's so camp.
As like a satire, I think it would be great. But the fact that this is a serious movie, like a serious drama, like David O. Selznick was like, yes, he thought he ate with this one. And I'm just like, how? And on top of this, because I was watching it just like, okay, how on earth did this get past the censor board? How did this get past the Hays Code? This movie is chock full of just all sorts of offensive themes. And obviously, like, they die at the end. So there's that. I'm like, is that enough?
Apparently.
No, because I found out that it didn't fully make it past the Hays Code or the religious review boards of the time. And so different states heavily edited them,
Incredible.
like the censor boards. And then several states, mostly in the South, refused to license it completely. And so it is additionally crazy to me that even though it wasn't shown nationwide, it is still the highest grossing non-Best Picture nominee of the 40s, you know? So I'm just like, Jesus. And while I was watching it, I was having like crazy deja vu, and I was like, in no world would I have seen this movie before. But the more I watched, the more I was certain that I was like, but also in no world would I make this up and feel so familiar with this. Right. And then thinking about it, I realized that back in college, I took a Texas literature and film class. So, God. Movies and books, yes, based in Texas. And we watched this movie in that class. And
Holy
at the time,
shit.
Yes, obviously I had no idea who Jennifer Jones, Gregory Peck, I recognized zero people in this.
Our good friend Joseph Cotton.
Joseph Cotton, Lionel Barrymore. That's the other thing. This is the most incredibly stacked cast. Insane. And like maybe that also has something to do with how popular it was, because it's just like, damn, these are this is a star-studded movie, including like Lillian Gish, who was
also in like
silent.
Beautiful Technicolor.
I mean, so you can see the brown face, really appreciate that in Jennifer Jones so much.
I knew that Jennifer Jones was going to play a character named Pearl Chavez. And one of my friend who was watching this, I was like, there's going to be brown face in it. And I was like, I don't know how long it'll take us to get there. And I was like, oh, cool. 5 seconds in.
First shot. Yeah, well, 5 seconds into the actual movie, because that's the other stupid thing about this is you start the movie and it's an overture, right? So it's like getting into the big Western score. And it's like, okay, we've seen movies do that before that are really proud of their score. I think, didn't a different David O. Selznick movie do this? Wasn't it the other one with Jennifer Jones where she was the one with Claudette Colbert and her actual husband at the time that they were getting a divorce, and David O. Selznick was directing them during the romance scenes?
God,
what the fuck
my
is that movie
brain
called?
just fell out of my ear.
Oh, Since You've Been Gone. Or Since You've Been Away.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Since You've Been Gone is a Kelly Clarkson song. Anyway, whatever that movie is called. But so in both of those, so maybe David O. Selznick is just like, let's set the mood. Maybe that's a producer choice to do this. So I'm like, okay, we've seen it before. Overture, it's kind of fun. But then it goes on for like 10 minutes. And then it fades to black. And then you're like, okay, time to start the movie. But then the fucking prelude starts and it's another however many minutes of songs. And you're like, okay, what is going on? So I ended up fast forwarding through a lot of it. I don't really like fast forwarding through stuff like that because I do want to be like, okay, what was their intended kind of mood setting and stuff? But that was so egregious that I was like, okay, I fucking get it. And then they have, the voiceover. And I think the voiceover was meant to appease censors to some degree because it is telling the audience what you're about to see is not okay. And it's crazy and it's sinful and whatever else. but let's get into it. And then we see Jennifer Jones in full brown face. So it's just like, oh my God.
Which, even funnier to me, as the movie goes on, they kind of like start to tamp that down and be like, oh, she's less brown now.
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't even know. Because they also, kudos to them. They did full body brown face. I was looking out for like,
give them kudos for a brown face.
It was an even tan. That's all I'm saying. I was looking out for tan lines or like makeup smears or anything, whatever, because it was so heavy. Also, her clothing too was weird. There was one shirt that she wore that on the center of her chest, horizontal line, it looked ripped, like it was definitely the design of the shirt. Like, not frayed, but like those jeans that intentionally have tears and stuff, distressed, right? It was like a fully distressed shirt. And I'm like, I don't think she's wearing anything under that. Like, how did this pass the Hays Code? Which now I know,
I mean, now there's also the scene where she goes to her aunt and the priest in the dead at night, and she's literally naked and just wrapped in her blanket. Why would she not put clothes on before leaving the room?
I wrote that in my notes too while I was watching it. In what world? Okay, so first of all, you would never. It's like, okay, she's sleeping naked, which is already just like, you guys are playing so into the wild, brown woman sort of tropes and stuff. In this case, Native American. In other cases, like, stereotypes and stuff. But it's like, okay, so she's sleeping naked. And then the maid, played by Butterfly McQueen,
Poor Butterfly McQueen in the Butterfly McQueen role.
Yeah, exactly. God. But so she comes in to be like, oh, Miss Laura Bell wants to see you and blah, blah, blah. Essentially, there's a guest coming to see you. And this is the middle of the night. And then so Pearl just walks out of that room and wraps herself in her blanket to go meet the guest. And I was like, what? In zero worlds would
Baffling.
that be? Like, it's absolutely insane.
Pearl in general, a bizarre combination of like savvy and also born sexy yesterday. The movie can't decide which of those two things that she is.
Yep. Oh, what a fucking weird movie. And that sin eater priest, or sin killer, right? Sin killer, which is like, okay, that name goes hard. That's pretty fucking cool. But the sin killer, what a title. Walter Houston, that's Dodsworth. So,
oh my God, that was
it was fucking him. Dodsworth. Yeah, exactly. So again, just
he's actually great in that scene. It's so weird fantastic. And unsettling, but like, what the fuck? It's
a stupid scene. It's a weird movie, but he plays it fully. He gives Ethan Hawke in the Right Reverend John Brown, or whatever the series based on John Brown was, where it's just like, this man is off his fucking rocker, but he's very good at what he's currently doing. Like, the acting is absolutely superb. Which, speaking of the acting, Jennifer Jones was nominated for Best Actress for this performance.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, she was.
No,
yes,
you can't.
Was.
No.
She didn't win,
Thank
but
God.
she was fucking nominated, which is crazy. And I did have the thought, unfortunately, because again, this is King Vidor. So I'm thinking of Hallelujah. And it is unfortunate that there are some parallels between Pearl's character in this and the main female character in Hallelujah, who is also basically can't fight her sexy nature, And there's also, I think, and I'm going to say this is the direction, where there's a lot of just fully flinging themselves onto men and stuff. And I'm just like, this has to be the director. But anyway, so Jennifer Jones got nominated, so I guess it worked for audiences at the time, or the Academy at least. But
oh man,
what the fuck was this movie? Lionel Barrymore was in this,
chewing the scenery the hardest that man has chewed anything ever. I can't. I'm like, this. First of all, this conversation is so disconnected, but I don't even know how you can have like a streamlined conversation about this totally bonkers
Impossible,
movie,
because it's such a mess. Such a mess.
My roommate, who also watched it, described it as like, this is like when you watch clips of a C-drama on TikTok. Every scene is, narratively speaking, you usually have a rising and falling of tension throughout a movie.
Right.
That's as true too in scenes, as well as like kind of how you structure a scene is you come in at one place, there's rising tension and the circumstances change, and that's when your scene ends, basically. Like, that's the the general concept behind scene and screenwriting. And every single scene in this movie... David said no. Every single scene in this movie is operating at 11 at all times.
That's why I said it's like the Anthony adverse of a Western.
But like,
crazy.
So specifically, the thing that brought me to this topic is Lionel Barrymore's scene when his wife is dying. I have spaced on the woman's name.
Lillian Gish. Because,
Thank you.
Famous silent film actress. She also got nominated for Best Supporting for this, by the way. Those were the 2 nominations for this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that scene where she's dying, she goes over to them and they confess their feelings for each other. And she literally just collapses to the floor out of the frame. And we don't see her die, but it's implied, she collapsed and died.
Literally. And the Academy was like, Best Supporting right there. Oh my God. Incredible performance, Lillian.
It's just crazy. And it's even wilder to me because so many of the compositions in this movie look crazy. There's a point where they've got like roughly 10 billion horses on the screen. And I said, wow, do you think they have enough horses? And then even more horses came on screen. And I was like, damn, Peter heard me like complaining.
Yeah.
They dumped so much money into this movie. It looks pretty
they made
good.
It back,
Yeah, they made it back. It's crazy. But
the other thing, I don't want to leave the Lionel Barrymore, Lillian Gish scene before I get to comment on this, but the thing that Lionel Barrymore was mostly holding against Pearl was apparently that his wife, Laura Bell, almost ran away with Pearl's dad.
The murderer.
The Pearl's murderer father. But it is established that that's her cousin, So I was like, did I hear that right? That Lionel Barrymore was jealous because Lillian almost ran off with her, or Laura Bell almost ran off with her.
Seems to be a thing. Because technically at that point, Jesse and Lou are like second cousins, right? Said Pearl, but the cousin.
Oh yeah.
The cousin relationships are like running deep.
That? Yeah. Oh my God. That's true. Yeah, they're like second cousins.
Damn Texas.
Oh my God. I know. And my professor was like, yeah, we're going to show this movie.
Wow. There's just... I briefly got not optimistic, but I do think optimistic is the correct word. So when Pearl gets to Texas and she meets Jesse, there is a great thing in how Jesse's costumed where I was like, oh, cool. He has a really distinctive bit symbol on his boots that is basically the brand for the cattle ranch, which is Spanish bit is the name of the cattle ranch. And there's a really great exchange between him and Pearl in the wagon as they're driving up to the ranch. And he's talking about how his dad kind of likes to put his name on everything and shows you the ranch. So like really obviously shows you the sign of it. And it's like, oh man, his dad has even basically like branded his own sons. That's very interesting. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a cool like psychological family drama on this cattle ranch. And no, it's just fully insane.
Psycho family drama. they dropped the logical of that word.
For a moment, I saw into an alternate universe where this movie was, I'm not going to say good, because again, we still have brown face and like all the racism in it. However,
God, so bad.
There's a version of this movie out there that's interesting. And instead we get Duel with the Sun.
Oh my God. It was so great. And then, okay, so Gregory Peck, obviously he's the worst in this movie. He's just the most terrible person from start to finish. He's just super nasty.
Yuck.
Yeah,
get away from her, get a job.
Yes. And a reminder, because we mentioned this, and like this episode will come out before what I'm going to reference, but he was going back and forth filming this and The Yearling simultaneously. So
man, the range of
Gregory Peck, where in that he plays like the most patient, nothing's too serious, just let it roll off you because we're family and we're going to get through this, and, coming of age sort of stuff for his son. Versus here, this man he's a sociopath. He's a psychopath and a sociopath and a rapist. Like,
this is such a weird role for him. And I don't know.
He derails a train, like what's going on?
The performance, all respect to my man, Greg, it doesn't work for me, but I don't know if it's his fault but like nothing about this movie works for me, right? So I'm like, is this just wildly miscast? Is this just terrible direction?
God,
I don't know. Because I think occasionally when he actually gets to do something, there's glimpses of interesting stuff in his performance. And I even think too, I don't know. I don't want to give this to Jennifer Jones. I think her performance is bad through and through.
Bad. Yeah.
Even though
I do think I kind of blame that on King Vidor. I'm not going to lie. But,
I I've really liked her in other stuff. And also, she's fine. Well, her career's going to be okay. It just feels wildly miscast for both of them. I mean, again,
yeah, brown face aside.
yeah, even brown face aside, it's just bonkers. And I will say, sometimes when you're watching a movie, it's just so absurd that you kind of can't criticize it because you just have to like laugh at it. And I definitely got to that point with this movie where it was just like things would happen and I would laugh. Like the ending scene where they have a gunfight and poor Jennifer. I think my note is literally like, girl, you don't have to let them do this to you. She is like stuck crawling across the desert floor for like 10 full minutes.
Yep. And we're getting like interesting close-ups of her hands. You know, she tries to climb up these rocks and stuff, but it's just like, oh my God, what is happening here?
Her fit when she is on the horse with the gun is pretty cool.
Yeah, and she's wearing her dad's scarf in her hair.
Yeah, so you know, her murderer dad.
Okay, her murderer dad. Yeah, I was like, she got the lusty gene from her mom and the killing gene from her dad. You know, so literally, that's what her character just is. You know, it's like the worst of these two people combined because maybe they're having a kid in the first place was probably wrong in some way because Hays Code said so. I have no fucking idea, but it's just. I
think you're right though,
and it's gross. You know, but it's also that last shootout. And now that I'm remembering that she was in Since You've Been Away or whatever, in the farewell scene with her and Bill, I'm just imagining her crawling and being like, Bill, instead of whatever the actual loot, you know. So it's just like so fucking stupid. So yeah, my last note while I was watching is just, this is a fucking crazy movie. But on that note, apparently on Inside the Actors Studio, Martin Scorsese said that this was the first movie he watched, and he holds it in high regard. It means a lot to him. I'm not to say that it's his favorite film, but he watched this, raised his little arms, absolute cinema.
I mean, as a young boy,
sure,
you see this movie and it's the most movie to ever movie.
Yeah. So and unlike, so many movies of the time, because once again, this one didn't get the Hays Code approval, across the board. Yeah. So it's just like, damn, this is so different. It's the
most movie to ever movie sexily.
Yes. Yeah, sexily and violently.
Oh, man. Of course, Marty loved this. All respect to Martin Scorsese. I think he's a genius. A really controversial take on a movie podcast. But
defend
crazy,
your take.
Love that.
Yeah.
I totally see that, though. That makes complete sense. I don't know. Sometimes you see a movie when you're young or it's like really formative. And even though it's absolute hot trash garbage, it's like, no, I am pinning something to this. Love that.
Me with surf ninjas.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of what's the absolute trash movie that I completely love, other than the Conjuring movies, but those aren't trash. Those are cinematic history.
The first one is genuinely, honestly, I think a very well-paced, well-done horror movie, and it's the movie that made me stop watching them so regularly because I got so scared. So I think I never watched any of the sequels, therefore, so I don't know how good they stay. But I think the first one, genuinely good movie. Which, okay, this is going off topic. We will return to Duel in the Sun / Lust in the Dust. But for whatever reason, 2 nights ago, I had a nightmare that was fully The Exorcist, except for some reason, the possessed girl had to stay at my house for a bit.
You do.
Like you do. For some reason, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. She can just, stay in her own room. And then things clearly got scary. And I was like, this was a fucking mistake. And I had to pack my bags to leave to be like, all right, you guys deal with this. And the priest who came to help deal with her was clearly not going to be able to handle it because he was scared of her. And I'm like, you're going to fuck this up for sure, but I'm not going to be here when that happens. So I'm going to go. It's
a problem when the priest is scared.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, you sure you want to stay here? Because I'm leaving. But I'm gone. You do what you want, but I'm gone. So anyway, all this to say that I very, very much dread having to watch The Exorcist for the fucking podcast because I'm already
fine.
I don't know. I'm already scared.
We can watch it together. I can digitally hold your hand.
I don't know if that'll be enough. We'll have to stay on the phone at night and be like, just make sure, just until the sun comes up. But yeah, so returning to from that aside to Duel in the Sun, just a completely wild movie. And I'm trying to think how much the mentality of post-war America, because again, this was 1946, right? So this was the same year, best years of our lives, etc. So you are dealing with a lot of misplaced frustrations and anger and trauma and stuff. And so I wonder if that culminated in them not caring as much to get the Hays Code approval because it was almost cathartic to some degree, maybe, to look at this really fucked up, weird, sexy drama. I have no clue, but to me, it's just interesting that it's like, okay, the timing of this is interesting. And especially because it doesn't feel very kind to women and women's agency ultimately, but we're now living in America where women are working, where they do have a little bit more independence. They have potentially even from that, not as much as later years, of course, but some more sexual freedom, etc. So I wonder how much of that too was backlash to that. And maybe it's a reach. Maybe this was just like David O. Selznick or someone read that novel and was like, hell yeah. Because the book clearly written before post-war, I think it was 1944, the novel came out. So I don't know.
Yeah, I love that you're trying to tie this back to like the cultural moment in which it came out. Maybe there's something there. I think maybe Selznick was just insanely horny.
And like really loved to put Jennifer Jones in his movies.
Yeah. So at this point, I think they had been recently married at this point. Like Jones had left her husband. I think they got married in 45. So this is 46. So and I think that did they stay married?
I think for a while.
I definitely know that he curated her career for a long time. Oh yeah, until he died.
Oh wow. Okay. Good for them. There was something real there. Still is very weird that he directed her in Since You Went Away with her husband. And I just have to imagine that like that train scene. I think he was just torturing the husband at that point.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be real. He's behind the camera like, give me more and more emotion, more energy with this. What a freak. Like David O. Selznick, absolute freak, confirmed.